Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I am gonna do a little walk and talk video so you can see Tui. It is such a beautiful historic little medieval city that is very much intact to the Spanish culture. So I am in Spain now, and this is the center cathedral. I'll kind of walk in the front and around. I want you guys to see some of the side streets. I'm gonna try to keep my voice a little low because I think as an American I can talk really loud. In Galicia, they do have a little siesta, so a lot of these cafes and restaurants will reopen for dinner at about 8:30. It's 7:14 right now. Let's see, let's just go up. Yeah, completely different cultural changes once you go from Portugal into Spain. Now, these two cultures are very, very similar, but there definitely are certain differences. The one thing I definitely noticed, the Spaniards are a very, very classy type of people, and the men and the women who are a little older, they are always dressed to the nines, and I had that experience when I was in Sevilla last June, is that during Corpus Christi, it was like everybody from baby to grandma was dressed really, really nice. And it's kind of funny because I walked into the shop to buy water and I noticed this one woman was absolutely so stunning and beautiful. I don't know, she might have been like late 30s, almost 40. But I was like, Jesus, these Spanish women are so beautiful. I could only imagine what it's like for like a guy to see some of these women, because they honestly are absolutely stunning, and they're just, I don't know, the Spaniards are definitely classy people. But the funny thing was, I got to the cathedral here in Tui, and I had a spiritual, emotional meltdown. Now, some of that had to do because I don't know, it just there were chills that overcame my body, and I just started to cry a little bit here. Some of it was a little sadness because of leaving Portugal, but I think something inside of me just shifted and changed, and these little like emotional breakouts, I guess they kind of do happen when you go through these type of journeys. The funny thing was, as I'm crying in this church, there was a Spanish school group that came into the church, and they were teenagers, so they were kind of loud and stuff like that. And the funny thing was that I'm trying not to get these local people on the video because they're really shy. So anyways, these kids, they all looked like corporate kind of sellouts. All of these kids had on Levi's, and they had Nike dresses on, or not dresses, but Nike shirts. They had the Adidas shoes, and so the only thing that I can really kind of say or think of is that the corporate American culture has definitely influenced a lot of these areas. And I'm finding it really, really sad. And some of the behavior of these kids, I mean, their hands, they were sitting outside of the cathedral and their hands were going in, boxes of Pringles, and they were all drinking Coca-Cola. Obviously, some of them were obese, and this is Spain, a country and a culture that is pretty relatively thin. On top of the cathedral, a couple of these kids climbed a ladder and were running on top of the roof of this like 14th century church. And it's just, I further had, I guess, this like meltdown, because I'm like, this is it. There's absolutely, like, here I am on some spiritual journey. Right before I left, I pulled out these little goddess cards, and one was Mary Magdalene, the other one was Damara. I think she's a Celtic goddess, which was about guiding children. And then I also had Ostara, which was about fertility. And this whole trip for me has been revolved around family, ancestry, history, heritage. You know, even the conversations that I had with like the older German couple definitely had influences with, you know, family history as he was looking at his family tree. And, you know, this woman that works at this front desk at the hotel that I'm staying at here in Tui, this hotel is absolutely beautiful. It is a historic building, and it has always been owned by a Christian family, even during some of like the Moorish rule. This has always been a Christian kind of home and a place of worship. So it's absolutely fantastic and amazing to stay in something like this. It is renovated, and like the architecture and stuff is from more of the 18th century. We're gonna go up here because I think there's some pilgrims over there. I hate doing these videos because I look so fucking touristy doing it, but anyways, I don't know, you know, these kids were looking at me at the church like I was crazy, kind of, and maybe I was, but I just had this breakdown because I'm like, why do I get so upset over this? It's because I just think this corporate global American culture is the fucking plague of a lot of our minds, and it's the behavior. I'm sorry, but I really don't think this type of behavior would have been acceptable back in the 40s and 50s in America or in places like Germany. The woman, I guess I'm going full circle here, the woman who works in my hotel, she's a beautiful woman from Valencia and now has been in Tui for 5 years. And she goes, I apologize, my son is here. And I said, that's fine, you know, I don't have a problem with the child being here at the place of work. And, you know, this is a highly Catholic country. They're very family orientated people. But anyways, she said, my boy, she looked at my passport. She goes, oh, you're American. She goes, are you from California? I said, no, I'm from Seattle, Washington. She goes, oh, my boy likes skateboarding, and he watches videos on YouTube and wants to move to California to become a skater because they all skate on the beach. And I'm just like, oh my God, in my brain, I'm like, fuck, like, this is such mind pollution for these kids. And, you know, we all want what we can't have, and we all think the grass is greener on the other side. And, I mean, every single one of these kids had Adidas shoes on, and like I said in the beginning video, Spaniards are very classy people, and the kids look like they just got out of Primark. Like, one kid had hot socks with like hot dogs on it, and then another one this girl had like a t-shirt that said hamburger. Like, I don't understand it, but okay. So I think what I'm trying to get at is this, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that I am here, like, more invested and interested in learning their history and culture and their spirituality, and these kids have the same. When I was walking into Puente de Lima the other day, I was just, you know, in my own little dream world, wandering through a fucking vineyard, and I heard this noise coming, and it was 3 Portuguese teenage boys, and they were playing rap music on kind of one of those wireless air speakers, like a Bluetooth speaker. And I was like, oh my God. And they were singing along with it and, you know, like doing their thing. And this has nothing to do with like race or anything like that. It's just, I don't like that. I don't prefer a lot of hip hop and rap. I don't find it aesthetically pleasing to the ear. And I also think it's very, very degrading to women. And I don't know, I'm like a relatively classy person. I do enjoy some unrefined things in life, but I definitely don't want to be talked to like I'm a big booty hoe. And I don't know, I'm trying to like escape America. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that when I was in India, I had the same similar experience happen where I was sitting in this restaurant in Jaipur, and there was an old man in a loincloth begging for food outside. So he was homeless and he really needed some food. And meanwhile, I was listening, the restaurant was playing this rap music that, you know, kind of talked about slapping a hoe in the ass, and then it's like I just kind of lost my shit mentally, because I'm like, this is degradation of the mind, and it is not how any respectable girl wants to be treated. And this is part of the fucking reason why I and a lot of girls have a very hard time in the dating world nowadays. It's like, it's because everything is so lust driven and driven through this animalistic behavior that has absolutely nothing to do with what any of us want. Like, we just want, you know, it's almost like when I see this shit, it makes me become more fucking conservative, because it's like, no, you know, it makes me gravitate more toward like the refinement parts of life, because it's like, what do we do? What, like, this generation is done. We're done with, like, these kids don't give two flying shits about anything. And you know, it's the same as the brass shop owner guy in Barcelos where I bought the necklace. His son is a video gamer and wanted to move to America to make money off of that. So everything right now is revolved around technology, video games, all the shit they see on YouTube. Everybody wants to move to California, and the West Coast has such a crappy fucking attitude about the rest of the country that I personally find them revolting in their attitude. And, you know, me expressing this opinion might cut me a few lashings in my tongue in terms of like followers, or maybe people will like no longer want to be my friend for having that behavior. I just don't get in my brain how anybody can come from a certain country or culture and just completely bash it or find the people that they come from disgusting. Like, I have friends who are Persian. I had, you know, conversations with people from Syria in Germany, and none of these people were ever ashamed from where they came from, but they knew that there was an absolute problem in their radicalized religion or government of today that did not necessarily reflect the way that they saw things or the world. So, you know, they were not embarrassed. They were proud to be from there, and that was the same. Like I keep explaining, I keep repeating my own history from when I was 22, because these individuals, when I was on that plane ride home from India, going, you know, from Delhi back to Seattle, the guy said he was so proud to be from India, and he would never be, you know, he would never want to come from anywhere else. And I guess I find that really admirable, because a lot of us do have so much shame and guilt from where we come from. I mean, Germans today still have so much shame and guilt from World War II, which has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, their generation didn't do it. Germany learned their lessons. They created an amazing society that's very, very safe for women. I felt women were more equal in Germany than they were in America to some degree. And it was the safest place I've ever been to. I would ride my bike to and from the bloody bars and nightclubs at like 3 a.m. and felt completely fine. And obviously now that's changing over there. But I don't know. This is such a beautiful city. I wanted you guys to see this while I did this little walk and talk. And anyways, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk soon. Bye.